Hello, dear students, parents, educators. This is to give you some clarity about CUET, which is the examination that we have to give now for all major central universities. More than 250 universities are part of this, and therefore becomes one of the largest examinations existing in our country at the moment. So the full form of CUET is Central University Eligibility Test, and it is mandatory for students getting into BHU, Delhi University, and other top universities to give these exams. Earlier, what used to happen was that if you score very good marks in the board exams, you could get admission to DU or any other university, central government universities. But now, for the past 2 years, the CUET is mandatory. So we need to understand what CUET is, how to prepare, what is the examination pattern, what are the subjects that you need to choose so that you are ready to give this entrance test, which is already scheduled for this month. So, as I said, it's one of the largest examination currently with more than 14 lakh, and it's going to cross probably more than that in this 2024. This is data based on the last year application. So it's going to be a common university entrance test, and much like its name, it is a premier entrance test to about 250 universities, as I said, and about other 50 prestigious central universities. So I'm sure that those who are not preparing or who have not yet prepared will make use of the remaining days and start preparing for the CUET, because unless we understand the pattern, we will not be able to give justice to this, because it's a highly competitive exams where the whole of India students are going to give these examinations, except for those who are going for very specialized course that is not available in these universities. The majority of the students are going to apply for this central government universities because it is one of the best exams, and it is also giving you access to premium institutions at a very low cost as compared to the private institutions, which may be charging you 10 to 20 times of what the central government universities are charging. So as I said, it's a One India mission. Earlier, we had to go to different states to give the examinations. The difficulty level was different. The board exams of different state governments were of different levels. And then they used to come with those high percentages and, occupy seats of states where the marking or the papers were difficult. So now there is uniformity in this. Everybody goes to the same exam. So nobody can complain, okay, this XYZ board was easy, that's why that person scored more, and therefore we don't have access to the courses that we are eligible for. So instead of struggling to get those 99% and 98%, which was the trend, and in the past we have seen that some colleges also had a cutoff of 99 and 100% in Delhi University, the top colleges. So with the CUET, it has all become streamlined, and it is now one nation, one exam, and anybody from anywhere in India can give this exam and secure their seat in the preferred college. So the date has been released. Now, this exam is by the National Testing Agency, which is the premium testing agency, which is doing all the major exams. And therefore, this exam is scheduled from 15th May. So you can save the date. It is from 15th May to 31st May. Depending on your choice of subjects, your date will be published on your admit card. But it is definitely starting from 15th May and ending on 31st May 2024. So the whole examination pattern, I will explain how to prepare for it and what you can expect in the sections. Also, I will be giving you a brief idea. And first of all, we have to remember, if you want to do well in CUET, your class 11 and 12 subjects that you're choosing need to be thorough. It's not that, you're giving a CUET exam and you neglect your school studies, which is a common misconception. And I have seen many people giving this advice that it hardly matters now to start for the study for the board exams. But remember, your course is based on your NCERT 11 and 12. So if you're going to neglect your class 12 board exams and say that I'm going to give CUET, you are sadly mistaken, because the majority of the questions that are going to come will be of that level. So it is important that you do your NCERT very well and perform well in the board exams and not neglect it. You have to identify your weakness and you need to build a strategy. What is your weakness? Now, if you see, the whole exam is divided into three parts. First is your domain subjects, whatever you want to choose. Suppose you want to choose science, then obviously your domain subjects can be physics, chemistry, bio, or physics, chemistry, maths. And then the first is your language, which could be English, Hindi, or any language. Normally, it's in English medium schools if you're studying, so English becomes your preferred language. And then your third test becomes your general awareness test. That is your mental ability, logical, and so on. Now, it's important, that's why, to understand the paper pattern. What is the difficulty level and the type of questions? Because unless we have solved a few sample papers, we will never crack this. Because remember, the scores you need to, get admission in a good college is very high. So out of 800, you need to score at least 700 or 750 marks above that to get a preferred college. Otherwise, you're not going to get into a very good college. So we need to understand what the paper pattern is. And therefore, it is important that when you give multiple tests to yourself or you enroll with some institute, you have to take these practice tests and understand how much time you're going to take for covering these tests, because this is time bound and it's all MCQ based. So don't worry about handwriting or subjective type of questions. It's all MCQ. They're testing your knowledge, not your writing skills. So we need to track your progress. And once you are tracking that, it's important that we understand that earlier these merit lists used to be created on the basis of the board exam. That is not going to happen. The only thing is that you need 50% mark in your class 12 examination. That is mandatory. If you're getting below 50, you're not eligible to give the CUET exam. So the list of universities, as I said, very prestigious universities like Delhi University, Banaras Hindu University, Allahabad University, JNU, all of them, Jamia, they're all participating in this. So there is no choice that if you want to get into a good central government university, you need to give the CUET exam. Now, as I said, this whole thing was, the CUET idea came up as part of the national education policy to remove disparity across India, because there were a lot of state boards, there's ICSI board, CBSE board, international baccalaureate, all are coming, students are coming, and since the difficulty level of the pattern or the difficulty level was different for different boards, many students from a particular board used to occupy all the seats in Delhi University. So considering that some of the state boards were comparatively easy, they made this so that it is structured and all parameters and protocols have been taken care of to maintain uniformity across India, and nobody can now complain that, okay, this particular state has an easy exam, that's why they have occupied the seat. So you need to prepare and clear this exam with good marks. It is conducted in multiple languages. Earlier, it was, the proposal was in most of the engineering and medical, this was the problem that regional languages were neglected. But after NEP 2020 said that even regional languages is important, and therefore the student has this option now, even in CUET, to give this in multiple languages. So let's look at the CUET pattern now. So each correct answer is going to give you 5 marks. And remember, you are going to lose 1 mark if you're giving the wrong answer. If you're not going to attempt any question, that is obviously going to be 0. So it is important that you plan your strategy for this, because every time you're doing guesswork, you are going to lose 1 mark. So if you're sure of the question, then only you should attempt, and you're getting 5 marks for a correct answer and losing 1 for the wrong. So it's important that you weigh your pros and cons, and if you're really sure of the question, then we should mark it. Otherwise, you need to risk that 1 mark, and therefore it's important to plan your strategy. And as I said earlier, that 50% is required if you belong to the general category. If you are a student belonging to the reserved category, then you need only 45% as the eligibility criteria to give the examination, right? So if you're below this, then in either category, then you will not be able to give the exam. Your subjects that you're going to give, your main domain subjects, kindly make sure that whatever you are taking in your class 11 and 12, the same subjects you should take in your CUET exam. Otherwise, you will find difficulty to get admission in your colleges. So if you've taken science, preferably you should take English, you should take physics, chemistry, bio or maths as per your choice. And then of course the general test you should take, which involves logical reasoning general awareness, general knowledge, mathematical ability, and so on. And if you're taking commerce, then obviously you will be taking English or one language from the schedule. And then you will be taking either accounts or mathematics, which is important. So kindly do not remove the main subjects of your domain because you will have problems. So you can choose economics or any other subjects which you would like to pursue. You need to take minimum of 3 domain subjects. You could even take 4 or 5, but the ideal combination will be to take one language, 3 or 4 domains, and the general test. And always check with your college from their website that what are they requiring. Do they require a particular general test? Do they require particular domains? Then don't forget to give those tests as well. So if you're choosing humanities and you got in 11th and 12th, for example, you got psychology, you got political science, history, or mass media, or environmental education, make sure that you are taking only those subjects which you have studied in 11, 12 in your CET exam. Otherwise, there'll be a mismatch and you will have problems in the admission. So when you apply the form, you will realize that you need to apply to 3 participating universities. So you can make your choice. You can apply to any 3 universities, and you can choose a combination of 3 programs while you're filling the CUET forms. So the form filling is a different procedure altogether. I'm sure that you have already applied for it, and you have received the the instructions on how to go about the examinations and where to reach and so on. So I'm in this, of course, I'm just explaining you to the paper pattern and not how to apply, because those dates are already over. So if you're planning to do it next year, then obviously the website and all, you can do a Google search and you will be able to find out how to apply in advance, right? So the minimum criteria is 12. So if you have not got your marks yet, still you are eligible to give the exam. But obviously, when you are going for your counseling and you need your admission confirmation, then they will be asking you your mark sheet. And by that time, the boards also will be letting out the results. We are expecting the board results of the CBSE by 20th of May or somewhere beyond. And the other boards will also be releasing it subsequently by the end of May or probably in June. But definitely by June, all the boards are going to release the dates. And therefore, it will be very easy for the colleges to get these mark sheets at least by July, when they are going to declare the CUET results and they are calling the students for the counseling. So who is eligible? Who are the citizens of India, obviously? And you have a list of countries who have permanently moved to India can also apply, like Nepal and Bhutan. There are Tibetan refugees in India, they can apply. And besides this, you have a list of countries given: Pakistan, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Namibia, Malawi, Zaire, and Ethiopia and Vietnam. These are the countries. The citizens of these countries can also apply who have moved to India for studies. You have a lot of foreign students coming to India for studying. So these nationalities are also eligible. Of course, it's a government exam, so there'll be reservations. So 15% reservation for scheduled castes, 7.5% for scheduled tribes, OBC 27%, non-creamy layer, and person with disabilities, PWD 5%. So considering all this, if you're in the general category, you'll have to compete with the remaining students. And if you're in the reserved category, then these seats are reserved for you. And therefore, you must make sure that which is your preferred college, go through their website, check out what qualification, what is the CTET subjects they are asking, because once you give the exam, you can give the exam now later on next year. So it's important that while you're giving the exam, and it's important that you do a thorough research on the colleges you want to apply and what they're asking for. So the whole process is now streamlined. You are going to save a lot of time, because earlier we used to run from one state to the other, one college to the other, filling forms and applying. But now we have to just apply once in the CUET, and then automatically the whole process is streamlined, and you can get admission to your preferred college based on your CUET scores. Now, although there is a ranking given, like you may get 1,000 rank or 2,000, it doesn't hold significance, but helps you to compare your ranking with the others. So there is a percentile which helps you to compare yourself. Where do you stand? That's also important, because sometimes you feel that you have done very well, but when you see your percentile, you realize that others have done better than you. So it's important that, there is clarity on this as well. And the percentile is shown, and the students will be able to see their percentile, where they stand with respect to the others. The exam pattern, there are 3 slots of this examination. The first slot is about 120 minutes, second duration again 120 minutes, and third slot is 90 minutes. There are 4 domain papers, 1 language paper, and 1 general test. So 4 domain, 1 language, and 1 general. You may also give 3. And now this total subjects, earlier it was 6. Now you can give up to 10 subjects, but that will be too much studies for you. So I would suggest that you take either 3 or 4 domain subjects, 1 or 2 languages, and of course 1 general test. Although in some colleges they don't ask you the general test, my suggestion is give the general test, because your option should be open. Don't close your options. Let it remain, so that if required, the general test scores can also be shown to the colleges. So what are the domain subjects that I will tell you in the next slide? First of all, let me tell you the slots. This is the slot I was telling you, the first slot, 2 hours, 9 to 11. Okay. Slot 2, 12:30 to 2 p.m. and the last slot 4 to 5:30. There is going to be 4 sections, 1A, 1B, 2, and 3. Now, in 1A, 1B, that is the language section, you have to attempt 40 out of 50 questions. Then in section 2, again, you have to attempt 40 out of 50. And in section 3, you have to attempt 50 out of 60 questions. The total marks for the CUT exam is 800. And as I told you, you should get a minimum of 700 to 750 marks to qualify. So it's not easy. If you think that, you can do inky, pinky, ponky and get through a CUT exam, you are sadly mistaken. You need to prepare well. And although it's an MCQ exam, your knowledge should be thorough. So enroll for courses or go through sample papers, buy books, which will give you an idea of these exams. And of course, the eligibility criteria is 12, 45% if you're SC/ST, and 50% if you're in the general category. So here, this is the whole examination pattern in the screen that I have shown. So here you have in section 1A, 13 languages, out of which you can choose 1. 13, you have 1B, 20 languages, you can choose 1. You can choose more than 1 also, but ideally you should be choosing only 1. You have 27 domain subjects. Here you need to choose a minimum of 3 to 4, although you can choose more, but minimum 3 to 4 you need to choose, so that you are, not facing any problem in your admissions when in the college. So as I said, you can choose a maximum of 3 languages. Mostly people choose 1. So 1 is minimum and it is compulsory. You have to choose 1. So mostly people choose 1 language. Then, as I said about the domain subjects. So 1 language is chosen here. 1 language. If you're from English medium, choose English. If you're from Hindi medium, choose Hindi, or any other regional language. I will not be able to give you details of which language you should choose, but generally it should be English or Hindi, unless you have studied in a regional language, then that becomes easier for you. And section 2, you can select a maximum of 6 subjects from 27 options. So there is a maximum of 6 subjects you can take. From here, you can choose maximum of 3 languages from the first option, 6 subjects here, but still my advice is 6 subjects is too much to prepare. Go for 3 or 4 maximum. And then general test in some colleges is not mandatory, but my advice is give it, so that your options are open. So ideally, my suggestion is take 1 language, 3 to 4 domains, and 1 general test. So ideally, you should be giving in the CUET 5 to 6 tests. And although you can give 10, but suggestion is to give 5 or maximum 6, so that you can do those well, right? So here, this is what the pattern is all about, and I'm sure you got a good idea of how to go about it. So this is the, in short, what I said. you have 1A languages. There are 13 languages there. You can choose any language from there. And then 1B also has languages, separate set of languages. You can choose languages from there, but total languages selected should be only 3 and minimum should be 1. And section 2 is your domain, whatever you want to apply. So you want to apply for a particular course, then you need to select those type of subjects which will help you to get there. So if you are going for, let's say, psychology, you need to have psychology as a domain subject and 2 or 3 more as you have done in class 11 and 12, right? And a general test, please make sure that a general test is used as a criteria in many universities and many colleges. So please make sure that you give the general test, although it may not be mandatory in many, but there is no harm in giving because this general test is based on your general knowledge, basic English or usage, comprehension passages, and basic mathematics. If you have done your 9th, 10th mathematics well, then this is going to be a piece of cake for you because all the questions are basic trigonometry, time and work, simple interest, compound interest, ratio proportion, linear equation, discount, profit loss, those type of questions, arithmetic progressions, which you have already done in 9th, 10th level. So it's not going to be very tough topics of 11th, 12th. It's a general test based on mathematics based on 10th level. And of course, there are some logical reasoning questions and so on, right? So examination will be conducted on multiple days in 3 shifts, depending on the number of candidates and the subject choice. And again, I'm repeating, you can choose a maximum of 10 subjects, but ideally you should go for 5 or 6 so that you give justice to the exam. It's going to be a computer-based test. It's not going to be a written test. It's going to be MCQ test. And the medium of languages, it's already given there, 13 languages you can give in any of these, including English, Hindi. There are so many other languages. Section 1A, 1B is based on, as I said, comprehension, factual, literary, and narrative aptitude and vocabulary. And section 2 is your domain, as I said, based on syllabus applicable to 12th or maybe 11th, 12th. And that is the NCERT model. So you need to study thoroughly your NCERT books. That is very important. And your section 3 has general knowledge, current affairs. So read newspapers, magazines, general knowledge. We update about that. General mental ability is something which is cannot be prepared, but you can go through a lot of sample papers to get an idea of what it is. Numerical ability, quantitative reasoning, and simple application of algebra, arithmetic, mensuration, geometry, as I told, that is up to 8th, and some topics of even 9th, 10th, if you know, is well and good. But as per the syllabus, it is stats till grade 8, they have mentioned. But if you've done maths up to 10, I don't think it's going to be very difficult for you. You'll be able to do these questions very easily. So I think more or less I've explained the entire pattern of the tests. And I'm sure after understanding this, you're going to do a little bit of practice in the remaining time that is left to you. And you're going to come out with flying colors in this UET exam. So I want to wish you all the best. These are the timings. So the exam is going to be in 3 slots. The 2024, 9 to 11. The reporting time is 7:45. So reach early, and gate closing time is 8:30. No student will be allowed to enter the premises of the center after 8:30. The duration of the exam is 2 hours, 9 to 11, but reporting time is 7:45. And remember, if you don't reach by 8:30, the gates will be closed. Same for slot 2. Exam time 12:30 to 2. Reporting time is 11:15. Gate closing time is 12. And the last slot, slot 3, 4 to 5:30. Reach by time 2:45 because gates are going to close by 3:30 and there'll be no entry thereafter. So this is the exam duration, exam pattern, and the syllabus I have discussed with you, the dates I have given you, and now it's up to you to prepare for this exam. And I'm sure all of you are going to gear up for this examination. And those who have prepared their class 11 and 12 well, I'm sure you're all going to do well. So on this note, I want to wish all the students and their parents equally who have put in a lot of effort in the past days in doing their best for their kids, and also the educators who are giving them constant advice on what to do after school. So many counselors are involved, so many teachers are involved, friends, families. I want to thank you all for giving support to our kids. And in case there is something, I am reachable on my, you can comment through the channel or through my WhatsApp. I will be happy to help our student community if they have any issues. So on this note, I want to thank you all and wish you all the best. Thank you.